Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Ambassador's Lounge. There have been some developments in the Middle East ever since we discussed last, and the most significant development yesterday and today is that Mr. Trump has decided to pivot himself away from kinetic action against Iran and is now determined to put more economic pressure on Iran by strangulating further, by imposing more sanctions. Iran is already under primary sanctions, but this time Mr. Trump has decided to also impose secondary sanctions also on Iran, which means that Iran has been selling its oil to its greatest buyer in the world, and that is China. And China was undeterred during this war when sanctions were imposed on Iran. Even before that, China was buying Iranian oil at concessional rates. It is continuing to do so. Now, what are the implications of these secondary sanctions on Iran and China? How China is going to react or retaliate to Mr. Trump's new policies, and whether this stranglehold of Iran, which is becoming more and more tight, as sanctions are being applied on it every day, how it is going to affect the ruling elite in Iran, and also how the public in Iran is going to react to such a situation. And also we will also take into account the new developments concerning the tripartite agreement, which was signed on 7th of August between Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey. And now a meeting is taking place of Regional 4, R4 as it is being called, including Egypt in Istanbul. And our Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister, Mr. Ishaq Dar, is attending that conference in Istanbul. What decisions will be taken about that? How Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey are going to cope with the emerging situation where Saudi Arabia is becoming increasingly under attack from Houthis. There was also a missile attack from Iran, ostensibly from Iran on Saudi Arabian territory. To discuss all these intricacies, this complex situation, I am joined by my colleagues, Ambassador Asif Durrani and Ambassador Imran Yawar. Welcome to the show. Okay, well, gentlemen, let me begin by asking, as I said, that Mr. Trump is now pivoting his policies from kinetic action against Iran to increased economic sanctions. How is it going to affect Iran? How Iran will react to that, and what will be the public reaction in Iran?
Thank you very much. First of all, yes, Mr. Trump has seen that missiles have not worked. He has seen that threats have not worked. Israel, US, both of them have tried their best. Now he has been advised that, Americans' munitions are seriously depleting.
Yep.
So they are resorting to something which is different, and that is non-kinetic force or economic warfare. It is a dangerous thing, but then you must realize that this thing will only succeed if it is a long-term process. They did try this economic strangulation before that lasted for about more than 2 months. It produced no result. They are again going to try, but and there is also news that reports that Iran already has a huge amount of oil in the seas and
onshore as well,
and that can be that will cover its revenues for at least 4 to 5 to 6 months. So it's going to be a long haul. Mr. Hegseth has said that the War Secretary, that US is ready for a long-term blockade of the Strait of Hormuz.
Absolutely,
yes, and it's definitely going to, in the long run, it's definitely going to impinge upon the economy, Iranian economy, which is already suffering. Iranians. Food inflation is more than 135%. So the people are in a messy situation. They don't have enough to buy the daily commodities. So Yes, they are going to. Now the question is, who is going to blink first? The IRGC, or that is the body which is making the difference. They think that Iran can withstand the pain. But can the people withstand the pain? That we have to see.
Yeah. Asif, your take?
I think Imran has said it, but Iran is already under sanctions.
Yeah.
This is not something new.
For the last 47 years.
So perhaps signal could be towards China. And I think in the past, China has not accepted American sanctions. In fact, China and Russia have been opposing American moves against Iran in the past. And I don't think that, say, China is going to say no to Iranian oil, which is almost 85% of Iran's exports.
Absolutely.
So the question is, can United States block Iranian oil meant for China? That would be a big question, and that means that if that happens, so it means you are dragging China also into the conflict. Right now, China is reluctant. China has adopted a principal stand that the countries should resolve their issues through peaceful means, through dialogue, through diplomacy. But at the same time, China is also a strategic partner of Iran. So is Russia. So here I think there will be more difficulties. But right now, for instance, between Pakistan and Iran, officially the trade is very low. But yes, smuggling is going on. So smuggling is going on between Switzerland and France also, between UK and France also. Those smugglers, what is smuggling? The items that are banned or they have more levies and duties, those are traded. And this is what is happening. We have imposed a ban on trade with Afghanistan. What has happened?
We are also losing,
Smuggling has doubled.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So legal way, when there are no legal ways, there are other ways which are being done. And in the case of Iran also, that is, yes, the important aspect is that UAE has announced.
That is another important aspect. Yes,
sanctions. But I think UAE taking this step can also have problems. For instance, it was UAE which has suffered the most as far as this war is concerned. So I hope that UAE must have calculated its consequences.
But of course,
but let me add one thing, Asif, what you were talking about China. President Xi is expected to visit US.
September, of course, 27th September, exactly. Yeah.
And I don't think Americans or Mr. Trump would like to
annoy
China would annoy him. And it is said that this visit is going to be for less than 24 hours. And that's already
that's a signal.
Snub to Mr. Trump.
Okay. So, do you really think that China is going to jump into the fray, or will still play, safely as it has been doing all along so far?
As Asif said, China has always been a very careful player. It decides its policies very meticulously. It's not an aggressive power at the moment. But you see, when we were talking about this naval blockade is done by the Navy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, look at what the U.S. Navy is undergoing. USS
Lincoln has
already been replaced. It had overstayed. The soldiers, the naval sailors
they were
had
committing suicide.
That's what they say. Albeit Mr. Hegseth and President Trump had denied that. And now they have brought a ship for USS Washington, George Washington from the Pacific. So Pacific is now without the U.S. presence. And that's where they need at the moment. They have left the partners alone there. So their navy is also in a fix. And as far as China is concerned, China sees that, and there is also a fear within the U.S. that this time period 2021 to 2027 is a time that China can make some adventure or take some decisions or take an initiative on Taiwan. And this is the time when U.S. naval presence had to be there, but they have withdrawn their assets from there.
Okay, gentlemen, there are two viewpoints about this new wave of sanctions, which is being talked about from Mr. Trump on Iran, and that is that perhaps the logic behind, which is in the mind of Mr. Trump, is that once the economic strangulation becomes more severe, then this certainly is going to incite Iranian people, against their own rulers, and there perhaps some kind of concessions, can be given by Iran, to the United States, which Mr. Trump would desperately like to present to his constituency before November as a trophy, of course, certainly. And the other viewpoint is that perhaps these sanctions may result, in a perception by Iranian people that United States is making their lives miserable further, in addition to their complaints against their own rulers. So how do you think, and this perhaps will help them, rally behind their own regime, which will be a failure, of course, of this sanctions move. How do you look at this situation?
Well, I think it is a difficult situation for Iran. As I said from the beginning, they are under sanctions. So whatever America can do now, as Imran said, the food inflation is already there.
Yeah.
I read 160%.
Okay.
Similarly, unemployment is somewhere around 67% or so.
Malnutrition also.
Malnutrition, you can't say at the moment. Iran is, I think, as per the World Health Organization estimates, is number one as far as primary health is concerned. In the country. Here you have to give credit to the Iranian governments, successive Iranian governments, that they have subsidized food, they have subsidized medicines, they have subsidized bread. And basic calories have been met in Iran. So this has been the case. Despite all pressures, Iran still has a per capita income of around $4,600. So this is not a small amount when you compare yourself, and then you can make your own conclusions. And more than that, there's literacy. They are highly, educated people. Technically, they are far advanced as far as region is concerned. So they have made strides into that. Having said that, still they could have done much better hadn't they been facing these sanctions from the United States. And at the same time, if the talk is about that, yes, it's because of the American sanctions that Iranian people are facing these difficulties, then there has been a simmering unrest within Iran about the system of governance. There are anti-clergy feelings inside the country.
Will it turn into mobilization against?
I'm coming to that. So these political differences are very much there, but it's not in an organized form. People were trying to portray former king's son that perhaps he may lead the charge, but it is not happening because he has been discredited because he has no roots inside Iran. So this has not been a success. In future, we are talking about Iran, as we were discussing earlier. Till July 1978, everything was honky-dory in Iran. Even the CIA estimates said that everything is fine and Shah's regime is very strong. But within less than 1 year, what happened? Everything toppled. So in politics, I think these things happen and these issues pile up over time. Here, the piece of advice in my view, for the Iranian regime would be that they have to accommodate as per the obtaining situation in the region. They have established their military prowess. They have established that geography is on their side. They have established that people have rallied behind their flag. after the martyrdom of Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei and other IRGC top brass.
Okay.
But now is the time that they should play with diplomacy. If they adopt the you can say non-compromising stance in diplomacy, what is diplomacy? It's a give and take. You have taken that, now you have been recognized as a regional power.
Okay.
But what you are giving in return, that is very important.
Okay. Well, before we move on to, the second topic that I have in my mind, and that is about the trilateral agreement, I would like to ask you, gentlemen, very short answers, what is the fate of MOU? Where do you think? I mean, Iranians are invoking that that the United States has to come back to MOU and fulfill its obligations which it has signed. Mr. Trump says that MOU is effectively irrelevant now. How we are going to see any semblance of peace, coming to this region?
Yes, first of all, you see, we must know that the talks between Iran and US are still taking place. They have not come to a complete stall, one thing. Second thing is mediatory efforts by Pakistan, by Egypt, by Qatar, they are still in the process. Right, so these things are happening place. As far as MOU is concerned, Iran sees what is happening to the US. Iran sees the predicament Mr. Trump is in.
Yeah.
It realizes that
Absolutely.
Mr. Trump has to take important policy decision. It realizes that the elections are coming. It realizes the pressure which Mr. Trump is facing within his own country, within his own friends. So it believes it has a leverage. It still has control over the Strait of Hormuz.
Yeah.
Not as much as it would want, because apparently American Navy is having an interest.
They are shepherding ships here,
exactly,
of course. Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely.
So they have raised the stakes. They have said that, well, reparations, if you want to have talks.
Unfreezing of assets.
Unfreezing of assets, end of naval blockade, end of sanctions. So they have raised that. They know that Americans will now not resort, Mr. Trump will not resort to kinetic means. It will not use force, because it is running out of, seriously, I mean, it's not one, it's not two, it's umpteen number of journalists within US who have said that US is seriously running short of munitions.
Critical munition.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So they have to resort to other means. And again, as we said, Mr. Trump thinks that use of naval blockade or economic warfare will bring the result. Iran is not a normal country. They think that people will rebel, people will rise against the government. Well, the people are already hard pressed, their lives are miserable. One thing. Second thing, they have seen what rebellion or uprising can cost. Last time it was thousands of people were killed by the regime. It's powerful. The IRGC is powerful. It's well equipped. The besieged is powerful. It's well equipped, and they have their roots, their tentacles in the Iranian society. So I don't think Iranian and the US logic will work on Iran.
Thank you. Asif, your take on this, is MOU still alive?
It is, I think, and it should grow, because Iran had, in a way, indirectly welcomed it, in a sense that it is not intended against anyone. If it is not intended against anyone,
Iranian says that it is mostly in their favor.
this is what, and I think this should be the case, because without Iran means that you will be missing the elephant in the room. So it's not going to work like that. And geographically, it is Iran's, in fact, like with the Americans, Iran's geography worked in its favor. So similarly, under this Tripartite pact, if Iran is not part of it, it's not going to work the way we want to. Or say for the regional security architecture one wants to have it. So I think it will, and gradually, if Iran joins it, then I think that would be a paradigm shift as far as West Asian security architecture.
Absolutely. Well, let's come to that, Imran. The tripartite agreement signed between Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey. And also, it is being talked about that perhaps Egypt will sooner or later will join this pact. When it came into effect, actually, Mr. Trump, welcomed it, and he says that he's very happy that regional countries are assuming responsibility and also reducing the burden on United States, for security purposes in the Middle East. Iranian leadership has also welcomed it because they have been saying all along that security of Middle East should be the primary responsibility of the countries here. Now, Saudi Arabia is facing the brunt, for the last couple of days or maybe a week or so, where Houthis are constantly attacking, the oil fields and other infrastructure in Saudi Arabia. There was also a missile fight from Iran, Now, how do you look at this situation? It seems that Saudi Arabia, has resorted to realpolitik, if I may say, rather than realpolitik. It is the checkbook diplomacy that it has resorted to. Do you think that this new arrangement, will ensure Saudi Arabia's and other Gulf countries' security?
Well, you see, first of all, this tripartite agreement which we have seen between these three countries, not much is known about it, except the fact that much is talked about the Article 5 of NATO, and they're equating it to that. Short of that, I don't think there's much to it. Now, the three countries with different threat perceptions, with different enemies, with different security concerns, they have been brought together. How they are going to act together, not much is known. And how things will work, the modus operandi,
absolutely,
not much is known. Now, you see, what I think Asif has also held that point, that it's a emergence of a new security architecture. It could be precursor to that, but remember, no security architecture in the region would work without Iranian participation. One thing. Second thing,
absolutely,
Iran has always, and you also said that Iran has always said that the security of the region should best be in the hands of the regional countries,
absolutely,
and that the Americans should exit the region.
Yes.
Well, this is vindication of the Iranian stand. It's a sort of a victory for Iran. There was a report that Americans are saying that the bases which have been destroyed, 18 or 19 bases in the region which have been destroyed by Iran, they will not be reconstructed, and that US bases would be shifted to Israel in Negev desert area. So yes, that is going to happen. Now, how is Pakistan, how is Turkey going to react to the Saudi concerns? This is something important. What Saudi Arabia expects from from Turkey, what it expects for Pakistan. It has concerns with the Houthis. It has concerns with Iran, though we have said that it's not directed against Iran, and Iran has supported that thing.
Okay.
So,
Imran, how you are going to react to President Trump's reaction on this pact, because he has welcomed it?
Yes, but you see, that is an indication, Asif, that Americans are getting out of this area. President Trump has said that I'm happy that the regional countries are sharing the responsibility.
No, won't you? There is another interpretation that it is actually the Americans, they have pulled the strings, and these countries have come together.
Absolutely.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That President Trump wants the regional countries to take up the responsibility of the regional architecture, of the security situation in region.
Do you think that President Trump has become so responsible and so concerned about the security of the region?
He's not. He just wants to exit the region. He has realized that he has suffered a lot, but $37 billion in these 6 months. So he has realized that he is getting nothing out of it, and he should exit it. So I think this is what his advisors are also telling him to do.
So can we say that the country that it is divergence, not divorce, from to United States? It's a divergence.
I think the Americans will keep have an interest in it, but that would be.
Let me ask Asif, if such an eventuality does crop up, where Article 5 like situation arises in the Middle East, let's say, if you were advisor to the government of Pakistan, how will you advise? Shall we jump into the fray? Should we remain aloof? Can we remain aloof? How can we strike a delicate balance between Iran and Saudi Arabia?
Ayaz, it is beyond my pension check. so it's quite a difficult situation, but I think it will not happen. Things would not come to such a pass because Pakistan-Iran relationship itself has got its own strength. And yes, with Saudi Arabia, I'm sure these things would have been sorted out before entering into this bilateral agreement and trilateral pact. I'm pretty sure, because those who have been negotiating were not so naive, even from our side. So, and had there been some naivety on our part, but I think Turks are not so naive. Same is the case with the Saudis, because they are signing the check. So here, I think a lot of thinking has gone into this entire exercise. Probably, and most probably, the primary reason is to bring in stability to the region, because here lies the win-win situation for everyone, including for Israel. Including for Israel. So I think, I hope, and Americans, if President Trump has welcomed this pact, I hope good sense will prevail in Israel as well. That while differences are very much there, but there are ways to resolve them rather than aggravating the situation, and that would not bring peace to the Israelis.
Okay. Imran, last question perhaps before we say goodbye to each other. The Foreign Minister of Syria is visiting Pakistan. Perhaps today he must have left, for his country today, but he was here for 2 days. And Mr. Assad, the Foreign Minister of Syria, expressed his desire to join the Defense Pact trilateral, which perhaps may become, quadrilateral, very soon if Egypt does decide to join this agreement. How do you think that this expansion, particularly inclusion of Syria, is going to shift the balance of power, or the shape of the security structure? How would it emerge?
Look here, mate. Shifting of balance is a different thing. You know that the Israelis just attacked that air base near Aleppo, right? Why? Because they thought that the Turks
Turkey
were coming
was deploying its forces.
Exactly. And they said that a Turkish military delegation had visited the air base. And mind it, that air base is deserted. So Syria is Syria borders Israel, and Israel's security, Israelis have this thing in their psyche that everything or anything that is being done in its neighborhood is being done against Syria. So if Syria decides to join this...
Against Syria or Israel?
You're talking about Syria.
Syria.
So if Syria decides to join and it is accepted in this thing, of course, it would be a real issue for the Israelis.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay, well, thank you, gentlemen, for your views. Ladies and gentlemen, you listen to our conversation. It is still a very complex situation in the Middle East. It is still evolving. The peace remains elusive. Mr. Trump's new steps of imposing more sanctions on Iran is certainly going to have its own consequences. And if he does decide to put some sanctions against China, then how the situation will play out, we do not know right now. How Chinese are going to react to this situation. Are they going to contemptuously reject these steps against them, or they are going to comply to some extent with United States desires? We do not know yet, but the peace does not seem to be coming to the region very soon. Unfortunately, I have to say that. And also that that the tripartite agreement is still evolving. It is still, we would say it is still vague. We do not know how the three countries are going to aid each other in the face of an eventuality. We do not know that. So we will continue to explore the situation. We will continue to unpack the situation, and until then, we have to say goodbye to you till our next program. Please do subscribe to our channel and enrich us with your valuable comments. Thank you. Khuda Hafiz.